here this afternoon because you submitted an application for clemency. You're asking for a pardon with restoration of firearms. You pled guilty and were sentenced as follows. On April 8th, 1998, you were sentenced 10 years at hard labor for molestation of a juvenile, 10 years at hard labor for sexual battery, and then 10 years at hard labor for 2 additional counts of molestation of a juvenile. Is that information correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Would you answer Mr. Wise's questions, please?
Good evening, Mr. Sapp.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Could you tell the board today exactly why you want a pardon, what it means to you to get a pardon?
Well, first of all, I've cleaned up my act. I'm no longer an alcoholic. I've been to some rehab programs here in Pennsylvania since I've been here. And I feel like I'm back on the right track. I've got a clean record here in Philadelphia. And I would like to become a free citizen once more. I regret my past, and I don't plan to repeat any of it at all.
Yes, sir. Are you retired at this time? The pardon wouldn't change anything about your money that you make, your retirement or anything, right?
No. No, I have a pension with the VA.
So you just want it just to clear your name up, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know this crime had taken place a long time ago, but it is a very, very serious crime. I want you to know that, Mr. Snap.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you lived up in Pennsylvania?
I moved here in 06, right after I got out of prison in Louisiana. April 06.
Okay. How long were you incarcerated?
10 years.
For 10 years. Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Mr. Roche?
Mrs. Sapp, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Mr. Sapp, why should you be alleviated from the stigma of being a sex offender when the victim is still suffering emotionally and physically because of the abuse?
Well, first of all, I have a daughter that I was accused of molesting in 1985, which was false. And that followed me through the system. I never was convicted of it, but it followed me through the system. Even when I came to Louisiana, I tried to have that problem resolved, and I could not get it resolved. It was like an albatross around my neck. And then due to unforeseen circumstances, I came back to Louisiana, and that's whenever I got involved with the Taylor family. And this got into this situation.
Mr. Sapp, did you molest Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
And you were convicted and served time?
Yes, sir.
Could it be one of the reasons why that you're applying for a pardon is that you are still an active sex offender until March of 2031?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And you're also aware if you received a pardon that you would not have to register as a sex offender anymore.
Yes, sir.
Could that be the real reason why you're applying for a pardon?
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Marabella?
Mr. Sapp, I'm very pleased to hear today that you admit you committed this crime, because in your application, you said you weren't guilty. Right?
It's been so long since I did that application, I don't remember exactly what all I said.
You concede today you in fact committed this crime.
Yes, sir.
You also said something a moment ago, is that you are no longer an alcoholic. What do you mean by that?
Well, when I divorced in '85, I picked up the alcohol that I had done when I was in the service. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I drank from '85 to '95 in an extreme way, more than I should have. In fact, I was out of my mind on many occasions.
Did you go to
And,
AA meetings or AA meetings? Do you go to
Yes.
them now?
Yes, I've done AA, but primarily the VA has a rehab. The VA hospital here in Philadelphia, they have a rehab program for alcoholics and drug addicts. And I spent 6 months in that program. We had to take urine tests. They gauged us by our activity in the 6 months, and I passed that. And from then on, I haven't touched any alcohol.
Mr. Sapp, if you are an alcoholic or were an alcoholic, you are an alcoholic today.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to see you finally conceded that you did commit this offense. So that's all the questions that I have.
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. That was the nature of my question to Mr. Sapp. It appears to me that the victim in this case was at the time your girlfriend's daughter, and she was about 8 years of age at the time. And this abuse occurred over 4 or 5 year period. Would you agree to that?
Yes. Like I say, I was drinking heavily, probably a fifth or 2/5 of alcohol a day. So a lot of stuff I don't recall.
Okay, all right.
That's probably
And
right.
let me just refresh your memory on what you did put on your application. I know you said it's been a while since you completed it, but this is what you said. Sexual battery of a minor. I did not plea bargain said case because I knew I was not guilty, but because I could not prove my innocence in this matter, I had no other choice in the matter. After serving 2 years in the county jail, I took the sentence and served every day of my 10-year sentence. I still maintain my innocence. Would you comment on that?
I have no comment.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I don't have any other questions of you, sir. Thank you. I'd like to hear from, I think we'd all like to hear from Miss Allison Taylor. You have to unmute your microphone.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, go ahead. Could you introduce yourself, Miss Taylor?
Yes, my name is Allison Taylor. I am the victim in the case under review. I would like to thank y'all for the opportunity to allow me to speak here today. I do not feel this man should get this pardon because I do not feel I was the first victim. I do not feel I was the last victim. I feel I was the only victim who spoke up. I feel I was the only victim who fought against him and got him put in prison. But this man has never taken accountability for what he's done. He blamed me when it came out. He told my mother I seduced him at 8 years old. He told her that me jumping on his lap was asking for all of the things, the horrible things that he did to me. And I refuse to believe that this man deserves the opportunity to just forget all this. This has to stay with me till the day I die. I feel it should stay with him as well. I don't really know what else to say besides that. It's just, I don't feel he should have the opportunity. And then for something as trivial as owning a gun. My life is not worth a gun. The trauma that I went through is not worth him owning a gun. Again, I just don't think it's right. I don't. And I refuse to let him die labeled anything other than what he is, which is a monster. So I will fight. I will fight.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for sharing your thoughts with us today. I know that took a lot of courage. Thank you. Mr. Sapp, I think I need to advise you that there is also opposition that's been expressed to favorable consideration for on your behalf today, and that comes from the District Attorney's Office in the 15th Judicial District in Louisiana, Lafayette Parish, the Sheriff in Lafayette Parish, as well as Lafayette Chief of Police. You need to be aware of that. I realize you're in Pennsylvania, but that opposition has been expressed as part of the investigative process. Sir, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I think that we're prepared to vote. I'll ask Mr. Wise for your vote.
At this time, I vote to deny because of strong opposition, also strong law enforcement and judicial opposition, your past criminal record. That's my vote.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Mr. Roche?
Mr. Sapp, my vote is to deny your request based upon adamant opposition from the victim, the whole community, legal community is opposed, and you are a sex offender registered until 2031, and I'm not going to vote to grant just to release you from your obligations.
Mr. Marabella?
Ms. Taylor, I would like to commend you for the courage that you had to come before us today and to state your piece. So thank you very much for being here. Mr. Sapp, my vote is the same as my colleagues. I was finally glad to hear you admit that you committed this offense, and it's likely you may have committed other offenses that you perhaps do not admit to. But it is my vote to deny your request for a pardon as well. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. And Mr. Sapp, my vote is also to deny your application for clemency. So you've received a unanimous vote today to deny your request for clemency. Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for being with us today.
Ms. Taylor.
The contrast between him, the cockroach, and that survivor is palpable. It's just absolutely insane. You know, you can see them in all shapes and sizes in all different stages. Here he is sitting here trying to make himself to look up to be innocent. He even puts in his application that he was innocent. He thought he can get away with it. That's how dangerous these roaches are. That's how evil they are. Now, I don't have more information to share on this crime, but I think we got a pretty good understanding. This, as she said, she wasn't his first. She wasn't his last. She was simply the only one that fought back. He has a trail of victim, a trail of victim that goes back as long as he lives. He's a scary man. The information, he's 6'7". He drives a vintage American muscle car. You know, he's probably not, working on his next victims. That's why he needs to clear this up. He's afraid they'll Google him. It's just absolutely terrifying. And we've seen it over and over. Yeah, he blamed her. She sat on his lap. She seduced him, right? And they say it, and they mean it, and they believe it. We have seen this over and over and over again. And man, I am so proud of her, the way that she fought back to be in the position of power now and to put that little roach right where he belongs. You heard about all of those crimes that he has? How long that list is? And the idea that he's a multiple offender, habitual, that's how many times he's been caught. And the system really only locked him away, it seems, for 10 years. Because the system don't care. Had he have been a distributor, had he had possession with intent to distribute, he'd still be locked up. But when his children, his own children, his stepchildren, who cares? 7 years old for 5 years straight, who cares? And then he has the audacity to ask her pardon, to wipe it from his record. And while he's at it, pick himself up a firearm. And while he's at it, insult everyone again by stating his innocence. And then saying, I have no comment about that application. We have seen a lot. And he's not the worst. He just fits it right in there with the rest of them. And what's crazier, though, is that in 10 years, he's not even going to have to register again. For some reason, it automatically backs away. But by that time, he'll be in his 80s, and that's still too young. He can do plenty of harm in his 80s. And he can do it for plenty of years. The reason he didn't have lifetime registry makes no sense. The reason he's not life in prison makes no sense. And the idea that she had to get up here after the justice system has failed her over and over again and say, no way, is even an injustice, that she has to get up again to make sure that this roach doesn't get his record cleansed. But at least they did the right thing. Made quick work of it. Still terrifying. That'll let you go.